Today we're gonna do a tank swap on the Pico, and I'm gonna tell you how it's been coming along. Spoiler alert, not awesome. What's up, coral people? If you're new here, my name is Remy, and this is the Bahama Llama Coral YouTube channel. If at any point you'd like to support the channel, it'd be awesome. It's super free, super easy. All you gotta do is like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're notified whenever I upload new videos. Frag tank, not looking so bad right now. The lagoon, probably the best it's ever looked. The Pico tank, on the other hand, well, what's happening here? What is going on? Who let this go? Me. Many of you have been asking for an update on the Pico, and now you know why there really hasn't been an update on the Pico. It's a little messy. Yes. Well, kinda. I commiserated a bit with someone who I consider to be a Pico tank artist. And yes, I said artist because that's what I think he is. Tigerboy.h2o on Instagram has some of the best Pico/nano tanks you will ever see. As I was asking him about moving the existing Pico into a new Pico tank, I said to him, Pico tanks are probably one of the hardest things I have done in the hobby so far. Maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but I really haven't had the best of luck. However, as I've said many times before, whether it comes to this hobby or just life in general, the more times you do something, the better you're gonna become at it. That's just how it works. Failure should be welcome at the beginning of anything new that you start. It's kind of like the ultimate litmus test on if you should continue in the hobby or not, because you either will face an obstacle and be like, yeah, I don't have a tolerance for this anymore, and you'll go away, or you'll want to confront that obstacle and find a solution for it. Both of those are acceptable answers, by the way. If you're new to the hobby, obstacles never stop. Whether it's a larger tank like the frag tank over here, which really is only like 80 gallons total water volume, or the lagoon behind me, you're going to have obstacles no matter what. There will always be something to challenge you, and I think that's partially what makes this hobby interesting. All right, sorry, I'm gonna take my dad hat off now. Actually, I'm not gonna take my dad hat off because every time I take my hat off, someone's like, oh, you do have hair. So as you can see, the Pico tank isn't in the best shape. Here's what we're gonna do in today's video. All the coral is okay, it's just very upset right now, so I'm going to take that, I'm gonna remove it, I'm gonna go ahead and dip it, and then I'm gonna put it back in the frag tank. So there's a mushroom and there's 4 Zoa frags that I originally put in this Pico tank, and those will go back in the frag tank just for now. The red macro algae I'm gonna go ahead and put into the refugium of the frag tank for a little rejuvenation. There's plenty of nutrients in that system, so it should come back to life a little bit. I'm gonna give the aquatic aptitude scape a good scrub. If you haven't checked her out on Instagram, she makes great scapes, Aquatic Aptitude on Instagram. I'm gonna go ahead and drain the tank, and then I'm finally going to replace this tank with a new tank that I just got at PETCO. I know I bashed PETCO in the last video, but for dry goods, as you know, they have their $1 per gallon sale all the time, and then they also had a great sale on these Aqueon Rimless tanks here. So this is the 5.5 gallon. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this yet, but they have a rimless series. So they had a 2.5 gallon, so we're gonna go ahead and use that as the new Pico, but it'll look nice because it's rimless. All right, so we've got our mission. Let's go. Okay, so this is the new, I think it's new, rimless series that Aqueon has released. This is the 2.5 gallon model, which is almost the same size that I have right now, but it's actually a little deeper by about an inch, maybe a little less. Like I said before, these were 50% off, which was a great deal. They're already kind of expensive at full price. My plan with this is to, right off the bat, frost the glass. I'm kind of taking a play from the freshwater world here with some window cling material. To set that up, we'll need to clean the glass first. I use Fritz glass cleaner. I'm not gonna lie, this stuff is amazing. I get nothing from Fritz, by the way. I don't get any money or products or anything, but this stuff is so awesome. The instructions for the frost static cling say to spray with water first. Use a lot like I did. It worked out well. You can move around the film on the back of the aquarium to make sure that you're all lined up. I then took a magnetic algae scraper to get all the bubbles out. You can use any straight edge, like a credit card. This was just laying around, and it actually worked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, this material, I wasn't sure what to expect with it, but it was extremely easy to work with. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to purchase this same stuff. And then I used a razor blade to trim all the edges, and boom, it looks so good. So I went ahead and I removed the frags of coral that were in the Pico. They were alive, just not super happy. I made sure to scrub all the plugs and get any nuisance algae off before putting them back into the frag tank. I then soaked them in a quick dip of Coral RX. After that, well, time to drain the tank. In the meantime, I had prepared some sand, and I've already mixed some salt water that's gonna go into the tank. It's all been brought to temp and it's ready to go. After pulling the rockscape out, the name of the game was manual algae removal. I just wanna get the majority of this stuff off the scape. I know that this isn't gonna totally eradicate the problem, but it will buy me some time. I then made sure that all the components were cleaned. I got all the algae film off the hang on the back filter and piping. I also cleaned the heater. Everything was gross and it definitely needed a good scrub. I've gotten a lot of questions on the hang on the back filter. It's an Azu. I don't know, it's some off-brand, but it's really, really cheap. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. After cleaning up a bit of the water on the counter, it was time to put the new tank in its spot. I left a little bit of room on the back of the stand to place a small LED light when I get it. That's gonna illuminate that frosted background. All right, let's go ahead and put some sand and water in. This is the Carob special grade reef sand. I get a lot of questions on this as well. What kind of sand do you use? Well, this is the special grade option reef sand. It's awesome. It's not too big, it's not too small, and I'll leave a link in the description as well. The whole build will be in the description, so if you want to purchase any of the things, they'll be in the description below. I chose to fill up the tank before putting the scape in just because it's one large piece and I don't really have to worry about it falling over or anything. And the scape is up next to go in and of course fits perfectly. Even better now actually because there's some more depth in this tank. And on goes the hang on the back filter. I'm gonna have to add a couple of pieces of acrylic spacers here because it's a rimless tank now, so it's got nothing to grab onto. Before it had that black rim around the top where, you know, it was a little bit thicker up there. And the heater goes in and we're finished. Well, for now. All right, out with the old, in with the new. I've got a lot of cleaning up to do right now while we let this clear up just a little bit. I think the only other thing that I gotta do is I gotta figure out this gap right here. So if you can see it right here on the filter, because this is rimless, there's nothing to really grab onto. So I've got a spacer here, it's like an acrylic spacer, and then I've got a piece of egg crate down here. Hopefully, that'll do the trick here for now. It's not very aesthetically pleasing at this point, but that's okay. Just trying to get this thing up and running right now. With the frosted background and the new look, I really think this tank is gonna look awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up some of this stuff down here. I got tons of buckets and just tons of stuff. The old tank, gotta clean it all up and make sure it's all pretty. And then when this thing clears up, we'll go ahead and get back into it.
20 minutes later.
Here's what it looks like today. Back to square one again. I added a piece of marine pure in here for some biological filtration. I know it's not much, but it's something. I also stacked a bunch of filter floss in the hang on the back filter just to get any loose debris. Overall, I'm pretty excited about the new look. The rimless looks really nice. It just feels more open. Can't wait to get some cool macros in here and of course a cleanup crew this time. There we go. So much better, right? It looks so good. I'm gonna let this sit a little bit and then I'm going to monitor it for a week or so and then we might add some more livestock. So I've still got the rockscape in there, which is gonna have some of that beneficial bacteria in it, but I just wanna make sure that we're not gonna go through a mini cycle or anything like that before I add some livestock to it. I honestly think that some of my original problems with the Pico tank were just not having a cleanup crew. And after talking with Tiger Boy, he kind of confirmed that. He was like, you know, you get a couple snails in there and that could really mitigate that problem a lot quicker. So hopefully third time is a charm. I mean, I'm really liking the look of this tank. The frosted glass, oh, it looks so good now. I'm gonna get some LED lights in the back so I can change the mood, the look, and the feel. I think I'm mainly gonna stock this with some macro algae, so if you have any ideas for that, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. I have a lot of red macros right now, but I know that there's blue out there. Of course, there's green. And I'll have a few corals in there, but I think I really wanna do the whole like freshwater planted look, but for saltwater. In the comments section below, let me know what you think I should put in here for a cleanup crew. And I'm open to like unique inverts that might have a cool look to them, because we're only gonna have a couple in here, so we might as well feature some really cool looking inverts. It's kind of funny how each time this tank has evolved. So if you haven't been following along with this Pico build, it started as an office tank build, and it was neglected there as well. I just didn't really have the motivation to put a whole bunch of time and effort into a work tank when I was already putting time and effort into work. And we weren't really in that office too much. So I brought it home, I set it up again, I made a stand for it. You can check out these videos previous to this if you're new to the Pico tank. And obviously that hasn't worked out the best either. So I'm just trying to find a rhythm when it comes to this Pico tank. I'm hoping this third time will do the trick. I want to thank tigerboy.h2o on Instagram. I also want to thank Tyler, who is my good buddy here in St. Louis. We do a lot of coral stuff together, inland_reef. He's got a fantastic looking new tank, and I'll link to that in the description and up above as well. You gotta go check out this tank tour of his new tank. It's phenomenal. And from what I've heard, it's changed a lot since we last shot this video. He's got some new livestock, he's got some new macros, a whole bunch of stuff, so we'll have to do an update on that tank as well. If you've had a successful Pico tank up and running for maybe a couple years, 3-4 years or something like that, what is the main key to its success? What would you say is something that I should look out for to make sure that this Pico tank is going to grow and thrive for once, and I'm really going to love it? And just before you leave, really quick, before you leave, go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're notified whenever I upload new videos. I want to thank a great partner of the channel. A lot of people don't know this, but Scott Crow has been supporting my channel for a long time now. He had a lot of faith in what was going on, so I really want to thank him for his support. And as a thank you and a quick reminder, if you ever see any coral from their videos that they constantly shoot, go ahead and shoot Scott a message or shoot Ocean State Aquatics a message, and I'm sure they can hook you up with something to make sure that they get that shipped out to you if you want to do that. All while they're getting their livestock section updated on the website. That's coming soon. It's still not totally finished yet, but I know they've got corals back there because they have a farm filled with frags. And you know Chris Kaz always has something brewing. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. And if you're still hanging out with me, you're a true fan. I really appreciate it. I've had a couple people reach out and say that they have started their own YouTube channels because of the conversation that I had with Peter on the Reef News Network recently. It's so awesome to hear that. I mean, you kind of like, I think some people want to start a YouTube channel about the reef tank, but I'm not sure if they're actually going to do it. And so far, in a week, a couple people have pulled the trigger on that. So I really want to feature them in my next video. So if you have started your own YouTube channel about reef tanks, please hit me up, let me know. I love to look at what you got and maybe even feature you in one of my videos. Okay, time to go enjoy the remainder of the weekend. I hope you are safe, I hope you are well, and we'll see you next week. Oh, that was like a clean finish. Not awkward at all at the end. Okay.